Let me be clear. It doesn't matter how you win a football game. The fact of the matter is, you win. And that's exactly what happened in the Louisiana Superdome on Sunday night. The Saints won. It was ugly. Certainly wasn't pretty. But the Saints won. They were outplayed on offense. They were outplayed on defense, if you want to look at the statistics. But the Saints outplayed the Vikings in one statistical category: turnovers. They forced 5 turnovers against the Minnesota Vikings. Fumbleitis and gunslinging apparently doesn't always win you a football game. Ask Adrian Peterson. Ask Brett Favre. Ask anybody else that fumbled the football for Minnesota. Bernard Berrien, Percy Harvin. Ask them. And they'll tell you, yep, we fumbled that one away. You know, it happens. That's football. It happens. And it's not good for Minnesota because it's because of those 5 turnovers and the one key turnover at the end of the game where Brett Favre throws across his body and it gets intercepted by Tracy Porter of the Saints. Yeah, I mean, that's not going to get you the football. That's not going to get you to the next level of the playoffs. It's not going to get you to the Super Bowl. It doesn't win you football games. This isn't the first time Brett Favre has done that. He did it in a playoff game in Philadelphia, and he did it in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago against the New York Giants. Both of those previous games where he threw interceptions that ended the game were in playoff situations, and it was both while he was in Green Bay. This is something that Brett Favre has had a problem with. Now, look, don't get me wrong; he's a surefire Hall of Famer, but this is a problem that he's always had. He's always been able to overcome it. Another thing about Brett Favre that I'm truly impressed with this next point is the fact that it doesn't matter how much you beat up on the guy, he's going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. I've been watching Brett Favre pretty much his entire career, 19 seasons, and never have I seen, or never can I recollect, Brett Favre get beat up as much as he did Sunday night against New Orleans. He didn't get sacked. 0 recorded sacks by the Saints offense. I'm sorry, by the defense, excuse me. But he got hit 19 times. Of those 19 times, I could count probably 10 where he just absolutely got bruised and battered and smashed and squashed and bent over backwards. He took some of the hardest hits I've ever seen him take. And the one hit where he had to leave the game to get his ankle retaped, and he was limping off the field, and he had to have help to get off the field. That's the first time I've ever seen Brett Favre need help to get off the field. But to his credit, he came back, even with an ankle that turned pretty much black. And Fox Sports showed it. It was pretty much black, but he came back and he played. You got to give the man credit. But here's the thing. He's 40 years old, and the thing that I worry about is how much more of a beating does Brett Favre need to take before he finally realizes, hey, I have to retire. I'm done. I can't take this anymore. I can't take this abuse anymore. You know, we'll see. I hope for his sake that he calls it quits. He doesn't need to prove himself anymore. He's done everything that he needs to do at the quarterback position. He holds practically all the records. He's going to get into the Hall of Fame. He doesn't need to do anymore. He's going to have a bust in Canton, Ohio. He doesn't need to do anything else. Now, as far as the New Orleans Saints are concerned in the Who Dat Nation, look out Miami, because Mardi Gras is coming down there. It's going to be a party on South Beach, whether the Saints win or not. New Orleanians and Saints fans from all across the nation are going to evacuate to Miami for the February 7th game down there in South Florida. It's going to be an unbelievable football game. It's going to be a great football game. Saints make their first appearance in a championship game. And when I mean championship game, I'm talking about for the whole kit and caboodle. I'm talking about for the whole thing. They're playing for the World Championship for the first time in franchise history, and that's 43 years. 43 years. People have died waiting for the Saints to even taste an NFC championship, much less a World Championship. The NFC Championship and the George Halas Trophy will be in the trophy case at the New Orleans Saints practice facility, but they would like to add another piece of hardware, and that's the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Not going to be easy against Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. It's going to be a great football game, though, and I expect the New Orleans Saints to show up and play despite what the national media thinks. National media tends to think that the New Orleans Saints don't deserve to be in this football game. Was the national media paying attention to what the Saints did to the New England Patriots? Was the national media paying attention to what this football team, what this New Orleans Saints football team did to Kurt Warner and the Arizona Cardinals? Did the national media pay attention when the Saints went 13-0 despite having to come from 21 points down against the Miami Dolphins on the road, and despite having to come back from 10 points down in the last 8 minutes of the football game against the Washington Redskins? We won that game in overtime too. Was the national media not paying attention? No, I don't think so. But the one thing that the national media was paying attention to was the fact that the New Orleans Saints got outplayed by the Dallas Cowboys. But did the national media forget that the Saints had all sorts of injuries on the defensive side of the ball? And the national media also was paying attention when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the New Orleans Saints. But again, injuries. When you can't play your key guys, of course you're going to have problems trying to play against the football team and trying to stop them. Not easy. But the Saints are healthy. The Colts are healthy. There's no excuses going into the Super Bowl. Stay tuned, because in the next few days, this blogger will be previewing Super Bowl 44, and I'm going to give you my keys to how each, the Colts and the Saints, can win Super Bowl 44. In the meantime, I'm out of here.